When I first started to think about becoming a Capuchin Franciscan, I was about 35 years old. I remember the song based on the Confessions of St. Augustine's, Book 10, Chapter 27. Late have I loved you, late have I found you, beauty ever new. I remember hearing these songs and brought me to tears because I was saying, I'm too old to have a vocation. That's when the Lord sent some friends and people at work to encourage me, to seek out my true desires. We need people in our lives that will say, take courage, do not be afraid, take the leap of faith. Jesus asked his disciples, who do the crowd say that I am? At that moment, they started to compare him and compare what the people were saying of the prophets of old. Peter, we could say, encouraged Jesus by saying, the Christ of God. Then Jesus rebuked them and directed them not to tell this to anyone. He said, the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. At this moment, Jesus was telling them everything that will happen. He was giving them an insight into the Father's plan. He was telling them the meaning of what it means to be his disciples. That must have been so discouraging to his disciples because of what they knew about the Christ of God and how he was going to restore the glory of the Israel people. Reflecting on this passage has brought me to a part in Transformazione, number 4.2, number 107, which says the following. The mystery of the Trinity casts light on the human faculties, broadening our vision of humanity. Thus, in the memory linked to the person of the Father, residing imagination and creativity in the intellect, linked to the Son, resting the capacity to reason and to search for meaning, and finally in the will associated with the person of the Holy Spirit, residing in the capacity to desire, which always is expressed through love. This is brought out in this gospel passage because the disciples remembered what they had been taught of the Christ of God of old. From the time of the prophets of old, the time of Isaiah, we could say this is the time of God the Father. That's why they had expectations of Jesus. They were imagining how they were going to be great men in the kingdom of Israel and how the Romans would be defeated. The disciples must have been searching for meaning in what Jesus was saying about himself, needing to suffer and to be raised. Then they finally needed to ask themselves, is our desire strong enough to follow this Jesus now? Do we love him to the point of death? Tomorrow, we start the novena of St. Francis. And in this novena, we hear, now that the world has again grown cold, inflame the hearts of our youth with the fire of divine love as you inflame the heart of St. Francis. Brothers, let us begin anew, with courage given to us by the Holy Spirit. Let us be true disciples of Jesus, because he's asking us each day in the Eucharist, will you follow me? Knowing the price of what it means to be his disciple. Once we say yes, then we must move from our desires to true love of Jesus. Then we will be transformed into the image of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. Then we are able to encourage those that still don't know Jesus, knowing and understanding that we will be rejected by those that might know Jesus, but don't understand our sacrificial love of our vocation as Capuchin Franciscans. Brothers, now that we are Jesus' disciples, are we ready to carry our cross? Because carrying our cross is something we need to do every day. Remembering that the Lord has called each of us by name to be here. Now we must move our desires to his desires and have the courage to say, I will follow you.